Hello again, horror movie fans, and I am back here to do part two of my horror on Blu Ray collection. Okay, so the first part was from movies from the beginning of movies, 1922 with Nosferatu, up until the 1980s, and this is going to be from the 90s on to the present day, and these is going to be a much longer video because check it out, and there's another pile. Just look at all this. Okay, so all of this is horror, and I do have even more than this but on DVD, and I'm going to do a separate video for that. But let's get started. Let's see if this video doesn't run off and become eternal. Salem Witch Trials, an absolutely horrifying movie that is, in fact, a TV miniseries, I believe, about precisely that, the Salem Witch Trials. All right, starring Kirstie Alley and Alan Bates. Just the extent of the madness that went on in those times is incredible. And you could call this historical fiction more or less, but it definitely fits into the horror genre. Highly recommended if you can find this. Mimic. 3-film set, with the first one, of course, being the best one. Mimic. I believe it was Guillermo del Toro's first American film. I believe it was. Okay. It also includes Mimic 2 and 3. And even though I have seen all three of them, I hardly remember anything from Mimic 2 and 3. Okay. Of course, the first one is the best one, but it's good to have a 3-film set. Killer bugs, or rather, giant bugs that have mimicked kind of like a human appearance, to blend in. An original idea. One that I have here on Blu-ray and also on DVD. This is the Lazarus Effect. Okay, you will see here the titles are in Spanish. In Spanish it was called Resucitados, but it is the Lazarus Effect. The reason it's in Spanish is because I live here in Mexico, where I bought many of these DVDs. But anyway, a very underrated film that I really like a lot, starring right there Olivia Wilde, and who is now a director as well as an actress. But anyway, beside the point, this one is about it kind of takes the line the themes of Flatliners and expands upon them. What happens when you come back from the dead. Okay, a really good film. Some really interesting ideas. They're not fully realized as I would have liked. There's a lot of missed opportunities. But anyway, recommended. Lady in Black, right there, with Daniel Radcliffe. Again, the title in Spanish, as you can see. Based on a classic novel which I have not read. Okay, a pretty good ghost story. Another one that kind of came and went and is very underrated, in my opinion, it is Oculus. A really cool haunting / ghost story. Right there. With, I believe, this actress that later went on to Guardians of the Galaxy. Karen Gillian, I believe her name is. Okay. Oculus. Really cool. One Missed Call, which I believe is a remake for an Asian horror film. Okay. Pretty good. Not great, but pretty good. One Missed Call. The Others. A really fantastic ghost story. And I remember this was the first Blu-ray that I got when Blu-ray started dropping in price, because when they first came out, they were pretty expensive. I remember I got this one for $5, and I thought, whoa, what a deal. Of course, nowadays you can buy Blu-rays for $1 even. Okay. The Others, Nicole Kidman, really great. A lot of atmosphere in this one. One that is more of a fantasy than horror, but still with a lot of horror elements. these Blu-rays are dusty. It is a Pan's Labyrinth, right there by Guillermo del Toro. A real visual feast. Very original movie that, of course, draws from a lot of Del Toro's influences. One movie that when you see the title, it's going to be a bit confusing. Okay, so this is, it says there, Piranha 2DD, even though the title of this is Piranha 3DD, but it is in fact the sequel to Piranha, the original one. So it should be called Piranha 2, but it's called Piranha 3DD because when it came out in movie theaters, it was in 3D. And of course, the DD refers to the boob size right there. But in Spanish, because I believe the movie was not released in 3D, they called it just Piranha 2DD. Confusing, I know. But this is the sequel to Piranha. But anyway, like the first Piranha, just a lot of fun. Okay. Another movie set in the water, but much better than Piranha 2 or 3DD. It is underwater. In Spanish, it was called Amenaza en lo Profundo, which means threat from the depths. And it really surprised me, this one, when I saw it. I was lucky enough to catch it in the movie theater, right there, starring Kristen Stewart and Vincent Cassel. And it has almost Lovecraftian elements right there, where a crew from a deep underwater research vessel, or rather research station, they're stationed right there at the very, very bottom of the sea. They encounter some strange creatures. Really good. A movie that just gets to the point from the get-go. It doesn't waste any time with anything. And it has a really good payoff. One that is much more of an action movie than a horror, but it does have vampires and werewolves, so I'm including it. It is Underworld of Bloodlines, right there. I do enjoy all the Underworld movies. This is the only one that I have on Blu-ray. I'm kind of waiting out till I see them, like a box set with all of the Underworld movies. But anyway, Kate Beckinsale, always great to look at. She looks sexy as hell in this movie as in all of the other ones. All right. Enjoyed it. As I have all of the Underworld movies, So you already know what you're getting into. Now here, an unusual choice because this is a Japanese animated feature. And that is Perfect Blue right there. And this is a mind bender, to be sure. A psychological thriller, or psychological horror, more speak. Animation is fantastic, and I can't really tell you anything about it because it's so weird, and also it would be a spoiler. But highly recommended. Okay, Perfect Blue. One movie that tried to turn all horror movie tropes on its head and use them and confront them. That is The Cabin in the Woods. Okay. Really good right there. There is that actor that plays Thor. Can't remember the name. In one of his early roles. Though I think he had already played Thor when this one came out. But anyway. A pretty good film, with a cool ending. The smartest horror film in years. It means that I'm not sure about that, but it does have some very clever moments. Okay, Cabin in the Woods. Love that cover. This one is a remake that is a pretty okay, I think. I did enjoy the first one a lot, and this one also, Flatliners, which I think goes into, explores some themes that are not usually explored in horror movies, even though it's so obvious, what happens in life after death. Right there. And it stars right there Ellen Page, Diego Luna, Nina Dobrev, and Kiersey Clemens. Flatliners. If you're not dead, you haven't lived is the tagline. Great stuff. Flatliners. One that is I love killer crocodile movies, and this is one of them, or killer alligator movies, and this is one of my favorites, and one of the best. Crawl. In Spanish, it's called Infierno en la Tormenta, which means hell in the storm, because it takes place during a storm in Florida where all the water levels rise, and of course now the alligators are able to go into residential areas and wreak havoc. And this is the story of a one such house, Crawl. Really, really good one. We're on to the second pile. The Forest, starring Natalie Dormer, and I admit that's the main reason I bought this Blu-ray, because she's beautiful. Okay, but it's about the forest in Japan where people go to commit suicide. Called the Suicide Forest. Okay, and it's a pretty good movie. I think it could have gone a little bit more with the horror, but still, pretty damn good. This one has another poster that I also really like, which I'm going to put here on the side. The Neon Demon. Weird as hell, all right, but enjoyable. Beautiful women, and the models, and what they do for that to be in that ambiance of high beauty. The Neon Demon. We can't really tell you anything else about this, because it would be completely spoilery. But anyway, really, really good. One that is a very, needle, and it is about, I believe, a game of some sort. I can't really remember much about it. It's one of those that probably went straight to DVD and Blu-ray. Okay, you can tell by the cast right there. It's one of those with a bunch of teenagers unlock some sinister secret or something. I Spit on Your Grave, the remake. Okay, there you go. Pretty damn good also. Pretty violent and bloody. Don't have the original. So I do wish I did. And this is the only steelbook I have here in the horror category. Even though I do have a couple of more in my other genres, and I bought it because I love this movie. I did see it when it originally came out in movie theaters, and also the poster, which has a very 80s style. It is It Follows, and it is one of the best horror films of recent years. It Follows. If I were to make a list of my favorite post 2000 horror films, this would definitely be on it. Right there. Another one that is kind of a horror comedy, and it combines the teen movie. It is Jennifer's Body. Okay, with the super sexy Megan Fox and the also super sexy Amanda Seyfried. But even though here she is kind of like the nerdy girl sidekick to the sexy Megan Fox, okay, who becomes possessed by a devil. Includes the extended version right there. Pretty good, enjoyable. And if you want a movie where you get to see a lot of Christina Ricci naked, this is the one. Afterlife. And holy shit, do I hate this badly photoshopped poster. Look at the hand. Look at that hand. I mean, at least do a good job. Holy crap. But anyway, horrible poster aside, and I don't know how this guy, who is Justin Long, appears in so many movies. How does he do it? But anyway. Love Christina Ricci. Liam Neeson is kind of sleepwalking through his role. It's a bit of a ghost story, a bit of a thriller. Kind of doesn't make up its mind to what it wants to be, but very enjoyable nonetheless. Much more enjoyable. Again, one of the best horror films of the post 2000s. It is okay, as above, so below. And again, I normally, not only do I don't like, I kind of like hate found footage movies, but this one is fantastic. Okay, as above, so below. One of my favorite horror movies of recent years. Really, really good. It goes places where found footage doesn't usually go. The found footage is done in a very inventive fashion, and it makes sense to the story. Okay, and the setting is also really, really, really cool. You know, the catacombs under Paris. One that is much more of a psychological thriller than horror, but it does definitely has horrific elements here. It is the Black Swan. Okay, once again, the title in Spanish, right there. Love that poster, and I've seen this one several times. It's really riveting. Okay, and it is directed, of course, by Darren Aronofsky, who is a director, a very inventive director, a very original director. Natalie Portman does a great job here in her role, and a lot of psychological twists and turns. Next, one that is, I think, kind of forgotten, though it's a pretty good, a really good take on the teen horror, and that is a movie with a strange title. All the boys love Mandy Lane. Here in Spanish, it's called Ecos en la Oscuridad, which means echoes in darkness. I don't know why they put that title, but anyway, all the boys love Mandy Lane. Here with Amber Heard, who looks beautiful in it, though at no time does this scene ever appear in the film. Okay, let me just say that. This, again, is a much more of a psychological thriller, about teen social dynamics, which, I know that sounds like ridiculous. Who the hell would want to watch that? But still, it's really good. All the boys love Mandy Lane. Now, Dark Skies, a movie that at first you don't know where it's going, though then it takes a kind of like a science fiction turn right there, and but it's really creepy. Okay, I'm not going to say what the main theme here is because it would be a spoiler, but highly recommended. Dark Skies. Another one that is one of the best horror films of recent years, and it even says so on the cover here. The best American horror film in the last 20 years. It is Let Me In. I also own this on DVD, and I also have the Swedish version. This is the American version here with Chloe Grace Moretz. But even though by a hair I prefer the American version. Okay, controversial choice, I know, but anyway, really, really good movie. Let Me In. A really, really original take on vampires. Another one that is much more of a psychological thriller, that is Possession, right there, with Sarah Michelle Gellar. Okay, about a woman whose husband may not be who he seems to be. All right, Possession. Now, one that I was a bit disappointed with because I think more could have been done. The Raven. Okay, the one about Edgar Allan Poe and a serial killer that commits crimes emulating the murders in Poe's stories. All right, so Edgar Allan Poe himself is a character here. The Raven. John Cusack does a great job, though the movie I think could have been a little more gothic, a little bit more creepy. One that is a direct descendant of The Omen. Here we have The Reaping, right there with Hilary Swank. That is not Hilary Swank, okay, but she appears here, and it is about the plagues, the biblical plagues that are in the Bible and that are now in modern days here with The Reaping. A 2-pack that I got for the movie with Amanda Seyfried here is The Girl in the Red Cape, which is kind of a, they take the Red Riding Hood story and make it more of a werewolf film. Though again, they more could have been done with that. It's really much more of a teen movie trying to capitalize on the Twilight vibe. Okay. It also includes Sucker Punch, which is good. Though I never understood what the, why, I don't know. That movie is just a lot of weird visuals. A lot of, it's one of those movies where the entire backdrop is CGI, and that kind of turns me off a bit. But anyway, I bought it because of the girl in the red cape. Okay, Red Riding Hood, or was it? And it also had that title. But anyway, you know the one I mean. Here is a French TV series, which I believe has also been remade in an English language series. It is The Returned. Okay? Right there. About people that come back from the dead. Right? Pretty much, though they're not zombies in the traditional sense. They walk around like normal people, and how this town kind of deals with that. All right? Very, very slow moving, though some interesting parts, but like super, super slow. This one is a Hammer film, that a modern day Hammer film, and in my opinion, the best one they've done of the recent films that that the modern Hammer has been involved with. Wakewood. Okay, this is folk horror all the way. I love that genre, and this one does it really well. Wakewood. Again, can't say much about it because I don't want to spoil it, but highly recommend it. A lot of atmosphere. One with a very original theme. It is Walled In, which I also have on DVD. Okay, it's about a building, though the building is not haunted or anything, but it's just some weird goings on in that building. Okay, The Walled In. Can't really explain this one, but I enjoyed it. Starring Misha Barton, who looks really good in the movie. I'm going to finish it off, which is probably my favorite of all this modern day lot, and it would be The Witch. Okay, went to see this in the movie theater at least 2 or 3 times. Really liked it. I love the language of it. When I bought this Blu Ray, I was hoping there would be a special feature explaining, how they decided to use Old English in this movie, and because I think it really works. It really takes the movie to another level. The Witch, creepy as fuck. Great performances. One of them, I believe this was Anya Taylor-Joy's first film. She does a great job. Okay? The Witch. Love that one. Okay? So that's it. That's all my horror on Blu Ray. Check out part 1 for those movies that from the beginning up to the 80s. And I'm going to do more videos right here for the Blu Ray collection for other genres. But for now, thank you very much for watching.